Welcome to Friday Friends, RI Elder Info's weekly look at the organizations and individuals providing resources for Rhode Island seniors, caregivers, and professionals.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It's Deb Burton here from RI Elder Info, and this is our weekly show, Friday Friends. Every Friday at 9 a.m., we come on here live and we talk to some amazing organizations that are doing things that you need to know about. So it's really important that you hit the like button and that you share this out because I know you need this information, but there's probably a lot of your friends and family members who need this information as well. And my guest today is doing some really cool stuff. November, I'd like to dedicate all my Friday friends in recognition of Veterans Day to veterans resources. So we want to support the men and women who have taken care of us throughout all these years. So again, hit the like button and hit the share because it's going to be a great show today. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit. So everything that we do is because of our donors and our sponsors, and we are extremely grateful to them. So I have to give a big shout out to Oak Street Health. They have locations in Warwick over by the Christmas Tree Plaza. They've got one on Branch Avenue. There's one on Broad Street in Providence. And their Woonsocket location is actually going to be having their first anniversary block party this coming week. You'll be able to read more about that in my newsletter. You are signed up for my newsletter, right? Sure you are. If not, you will be. And I'd also like to do a big shout out to United Healthcare. You know, it's open enrollment and they're a great Medicare provider here in the state. So I encourage you to check out Jennifer Barrows. She's a good friend of mine over at United Health, and she'll take care of you and make sure that you have all your questions about Medicare answered. And then there's Tamarisk Assisted Living. Tamarisk is a little assisted living over by the mall, easy on and off the highway. Susan and Sean are the folks that you want to talk to over there. And let me tell you, they will take care of you or your loved one just like their own family. It's a really great little spot. So I encourage you to check out all of my sponsors because they really are amazing organizations. So today I'm going to be speaking with Jim Collins from New Englanders Helping Our Vets. Welcome up, Jim.
Morning, Deb. How are you? Thank you for putting me on your show.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you. You and I met a couple years ago at one of the Operation Stand Down weekends.
Okay, yeah, up at Diamond Hill.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, he's doing some really cool stuff. Like, we got to connect and get the word out. So can you tell everybody what is it that you do? What is your organization?
Well, we kind of help the guys that fall between the cracks. We have some other good organizations like Veterans Inc. and Operation Stand Down that work off of grants that a lot of people aren't eligible because they might make a little bit too much money in their pay. So they can't help them. They recommend them to us. Sometimes we help somebody help pay their rent, pay their electric bills. This week I've been moving furniture from North Kingston to Newport. Well, as our vets get apartments, they get the key to an empty apartment. So sometimes our donations don't come in too much with the COVID. So to keep us going and stuff, we started a couple of years ago. We help furniture. So if people have old furniture, good old furniture, and they want to get rid of it, we pick it up and we find a vet that needs it.
Wow. So that right there, I got to tell you, like in a lot of the networking groups that I talk to and that I participate in, there's a lot of times folks who are downsizing their house. So, but they don't know, like, unfortunately, they don't want their stuff to go to the dump because it's good stuff that people can use.
Sure.
But they didn't know, like, okay, but who's going to like come get it? And that's been like a real challenge for a lot of the downsizers is who's going to come get it. So your company, your nonprofit would come get it.
Well, usually what we do is because we're running out of storage
Aha.
to put stuff.
Yep.
So eventually I want to try to get somebody to help us get a grant so we can maybe get a building so people could either drop stuff off, come pick it up, and we could put, say, like a vet in and put him in charge of that unit,
Yep.
and he could get a little bit of a paycheck, right? And he would be there if somebody wanted to drop something off or come pick something up. Maybe we would open it like 2 days a week or something like that. But that's in our future, hopefully. But right now, I got a bunch of great guys that I take under my wing. We become good friends, and whenever I need anybody to help me move furniture and stuff, I just make a phone call, and these guys are right there to help me. And we go out and we have a good time. We laugh, we joke, we stop, we get something to eat, and we just get out there and you know be guys again. We have a good time.
That's
And
it. And you've got the mission to get completed, and so you're just out doing it.
correct. And most of my guys, being in the service, it's a brotherhood. I don't care if you're in Navy, Army, Marines, whatever, right? Especially when you've done your time and you're out. Now we consider ourselves all brothers,
Yep.
and
Yep.
we have got one of the biggest, I would say, fellowships that there is. I mean, there's a lot of veterans out there, and like I said, we're all brothers.
Yeah.
Usually we'll all stick up for each other. Nobody's left behind. And we just try to do what we can.
See,
we,
that's what I like about you when we first met is it's about just getting the job done. Whatever
yeah,
it
I
takes, just
mean,
get
we're
the
all in
job
this
done.
together. So I don't care what other organizations out there. If I can help them do their mission, and hopefully they can help me do my mission just by getting our name out there and helping who we can,
Yeah,
and just get people feeling good about themselves again.
exactly. So, in addition to the furniture that you help disperse to people in need, what
hmm
other kinds of things do you do there at New Englanders Helping Our Vets?
Well, right now I'm working on a couple of projects. I've got one gentleman, he's 94 years old. His roof has been leaking for years. Somebody patched it 3, 4 years ago, but it's breaking through again. It's a rubber roof, unfortunately, because a lot of contractors don't do rubber roofs, they do regular roofs. So to try to get somebody to help us, at least supply the material and stuff to fix this gentleman's house. But I've been working with, we got some good sponsors that help us, like Home Depot, Lowe's. So they're working on a work team to go over to that particular person. But if we find somebody, like we had another gentleman, unfortunately, um, he had fallen in his house. His house was in really, really bad shape. When the the fire department came to rescue, they condemned his house on him. I mean, the house is really, in bad shape. So we've been kind of working with him a little bit to try to help him get some of his stuff out of the house. I've been working with Johnston, the mayor, the building inspector, fire marshal, and all that, so we can get into the house to do what we can for him. But little projects like that. We also, if I have somebody that has to go to a doctor's appointment, if sometimes I'll go and I'll pick them up and I'll take them to their doctor's appointment, or we'll find somebody that can, or if it's feasible, we can maybe send them in an Uber and we would pick up the Uber bill. So we do stuff like that. We do little fundraisers. Unfortunately, with the COVID, we haven't been able to do what we usually do. We usually have Gillette Stadium. A friend of mine, good friend of mine, Fred Smirlis, he was a NFL player for years. He played for Buffalo for 13 years. He played for San Francisco. He played for our Patriots. He has a tent at Gillette Stadium that we did tailgate parties with.
Okay.
And we had a motorcycle shop, Mom's Motorcycle, usually donates a four-wheeler to us every year that we would raffle off on Super Bowl.
Yep.
Right? But with the COVID, unfortunately, we didn't set the tent up this year. So we lost Gillette, but we'll be back there next year again. But we've got a couple of clothes drives that we're going to be working on. Getting some guys some jackets, and and their families. Like, we try to get even the kids. A lot of people don't realize veterans have families too. They have kids, they have wives, so that's where, even with the car raffle, sometimes you got one car in the family, the wife works, or one works, so they need the car. The other person's at home, or he's got to take a bus or whatever. So if they want a car, they could use it, two cars, and to
Yeah.
help them
Yeah.
with that.
Absolutely.
So I just like people in a lot of the way we had started the advertising this first one. We should have put it out there a little different, because I think on our ad we said retired or active, right? Uh, Actually, for the car raffle, it's anybody that ever wore our uniform. So if you're coming back from deployment,
Yep.
all right, you haven't got a car. You've been away for how many months?
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Put a ticket in. If you can use the car, all I ask is, if you win the car, you got to register it and insure it to pick it up, right?
Yep.
But if you use it for 6 months, 7 months, give it to another veteran after. Don't go, just don't take it and, okay, I want a car, now it's for sale. Because
Right.
That's not what this is about.
Yeah. So tell me more about the car raffle.
Okay. We've got Henry's.
Was that something that was sold, like was raffled off at the Gillette Stadium tent, and now you can't do that?
No. At the stadium, we used to have Home Depot and Lowe's.
Was that something that was sold, like? Ooh, sorry about that.
Okay. I said, who else jumped in with us there? At the stadium, what we used to do is I would have, like I said, Home Depot or Lowe's and a few other good spots. They donate stuff to us to put on a raffle table.
Okay.
Right. So now, when you came into the tailgate party, we would have, like, we had Miss America from Connecticut behind the table selling the raffle tickets, along with my secretary Risa Hardy and my wife. The pretty girls would sell the tickets.
Funny how that works.
I don't know what it is. A guy can walk by another guy. Yeah, how you doing, buddy? But if a guy walks by a pretty girl, they're going to stop and talk to him, and the pretty girl's going to sell him a ticket. So,
Yep.
And that goes back to helping a veteran.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the price of oil and everything is.
It's crazy.
It's and our vets run out of oil a lot. So, and oil companies don't want to go out for less than 100 gallons. So
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
If you're up to $3.50 or $4 a gallon, right? If we got them 100 gallons of oil to get them through to their next check or whatever, then it costs us $400 or more to help that one vet. So it's tough in the winter because money goes fast.
And let me tell you, in this economy, toilet paper, food, milk, like I go to the grocery store for a handful of things, and next thing I know, it's $60. I'm like, holy cannoli. So, for men and women who have served our country, they may have a fixed income, and, every little bit helps. I know that we have a lot of military members or veterans who are homeless. Or on the brink of
homelessness, especially the more the inflation keeps going up, the more people keep falling behind. Unfortunately, it's and we really, we've got some good facilities out there helping the vets, but a lot of our I take care of a couple of guys that live in the woods. They don't want to live in a shelters, because in some of the shelters, they can't leave anything. They can't leave their apartments because other people go in their apartments or into their stuff and they take, it's sad. So they
Yeah.
would rather sleep in a tent and, with a little propane heater.
Ooh,
And the
that could
more,
be
yeah,
dangerous.
oh, yeah. But, that's how some of them, they just feel better,
Yeah.
And I mean, some of the guys, they got their tent set up pretty good. I
But
had
still,
one,
winter's coming. Let me tell you, this morning I checked the thermostat, the thermometer outside was 32 degrees.
yeah.
And you might have a propane heater, but it's still a tent.
Yeah. Well,
It's not okay.
some of the tents are good for like 20 degrees below zero, right? But if it's snowing out all night, you got to stay up all night to keep pushing snow off your tent so they don't collapse. You get up in the morning, it's sad, but they will survive. They're soldiers. They
Right.
can, whatever you push out, most of the guys will take care of it.
Yep. Yep. But still, we want to be able to help them to the extent that they want help.
That's the thing. They gotta kind of want help first. Um, some of the guys, unfortunately, and they need it. I'm not a psychiatrist or nothing, but a lot of the people, well, just too much over drugged, I think. Right? I've met a few guys, and we become friends, and they want to come with me and stuff, and I wean them off of a lot of the medications. I've got a gentleman I helped out about 5-6 years ago, Jason Morrell. He has PTSD pretty bad at one time, right? And he's a musician, so he does magic tricks. So he kind of lost his little, he couldn't really look people in the eye. The PTSD was really getting to him, and but he was good with magic. So I turned around and I took him to Gillette Stadium to our tailgate party. Right? He didn't know where he was going. Right? All of a sudden, he's in front of like 300 people. Right? Yeah, dude, I pushed him into the fire. But I turned around and I pointed to one table. I says, Jason, go over there and do a couple of card tricks for my buddies there. Right? He's going side. I said, focus. Just look at that table. Don't look at the other tables. Right? So he kind of went over, and they were my good friends at the table, and they all cheered him on and everything. And it took him out of his. He was able to start doing things again. It was amazing, right? He ended up performing for all the different tables, doing all different card tricks and everything. So now he opened up an organization. It's called Operation Magic Touch. And we've been helping him try to get this going. He's trying to go through the VA for a little bit of funding because these magic props are expensive.
Yes.
But what his mission is he wants to take guys that have PTSD, right, and teach them a magic trick. Now, as soon as they learn that magic trick, he wants to teach them another magic trick. So now their mind is thinking, what's the next trick I can learn? And it actually brings them away. And they can't do that on heavily medication. So they
Right. But we
basically,
still we do want to be careful that make sure that people do follow their doctor's orders and
oh
and
yeah,
don't just stop taking their
definitely.
medication.
Like I said, I'm not a psychiatrist, right?
Yeah.
But that's why we're going through the VA with this particular program for Jason, right? Matter of fact, before he was our governor, right, Mr. McGee ended up giving Jason a medal for doing one of his performances at the VA. So,
Nice.
hopefully Jason is going to do good. But that
Yeah.
was, just another thing that we've done. We've helped, that
Yep.
certain person, and now he's fully capable of moving on and helping more veterans.
Exactly.
Right?
Each one reach one,
There
give
you
folks a
go.
hand up.
Exactly. It's a hand up, not a handout.
Yeah. You when we had a long conversation on the phone and you shared a story with me about an older veteran and his flag in his yard.
Oh yeah. He
Will you
passed.
share that story with the viewers?
Okay.
Don't say names or anything like that,
No,
but
I when I first started the organization, one of my good friends told me, he says, I have a friend of mine that really doesn't need any money. He kind of needs somebody to talk to. So I went with my friend, and he introduced me to this particular person. And we got talking. He was bed stricken. Like they got him up in the morning, they put him on his couch, and that's how he had to stay for the day. And it's a lonely, long day. So after we talked a little bit, I turned around and I said to him, I says, what bothers you the most, right? And his whole attitude changed, right? And he looked at me and he says, what bothers me the most, he says, what did you see when you came here today? So when I said, well, when I knocked at your door, I saw your American flag at the door. And he says, that's what bothers me. He says, you could see my flag, I couldn't. So I turned around and, we finished our conversation. I left. I got hold of his wife. I says, if you see anybody outside your window tomorrow, right, do not tell your husband, right? And my buddy has a landscaping company. He came with his crew and they dug a big hole. We poured cement. And the next morning, when they put him out on his couch and stuff, we raised a flagpole and put a flag up for him. Well, he turned around, and I mean, it meant everything to him. His wife called me about 2 weeks later. She says, Jimmy, I want to thank you so much. He's coming out of his, like his closeness, right? He gets up every morning, he salutes his flag. He goes to bed at night, he salutes his flag. He says, and if he gets up in the middle of the night, he can see his flag because you got the solar light on it. So his flag was always flapping in front of that window. And it just meant so much to him that he started getting back involved with the DAV and everything. And, he had another 2 years that he lived, but he lived good. And
yeah.
so it was just a little thing like that that changed his whole life again. And that's what makes me really love doing what our organization does. It's,
Yeah.
we can help people. And,
And that's
you
one
know,
of the things that I really like about your organization, New Englanders Helping Our Vets, is that it's like making sure that that individual can see his flag. That's not something on a form that you check off as something that you need. That's not something that you produce a DD 214 for. That's touching humanity. That's seeing that person as an individual and finding what's really important. And absolutely no doubt having a car for someone is really important. But I'd venture to guess that that flag was just as important, or if not, maybe even more important than even having a car.
oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, his like I said, he didn't need anything financially. His family was so happy with how he changed and stuff. We his wife has sold the house now. She just went out to live with her son in California, but they donated all their furniture to us from from here, and we was able to give it out to other vets. The person that bought her house, right, loved our American flag too, so the American flagpole stayed at this house, with the promise, if anything ever happened, that the flag would be sent out to California. You know,
That's
uh,
awesome. That's awesome. So, one of the things, if people wanted to to help you, are you a 501c3
yes,
nonprofit?
Debbie. Yeah, yep. 501(c). I guess they could either go on our Facebook, see what we do, and if we have a donate button on that. If people know anybody that's got furniture, decent furniture, pots and pans and stuff like that, if it's not, I mean, I don't want to drive to Boston to pick up a crock pot, but because I'd be a crackpot to go do that. But
Uh,
if it's in the fairly local vicinity, and how can I say that? I've gone to the Cape, picked stuff up at the Cape, and drove it to Boston. So we get out and,
Yeah.
we try to make every day a fun day and
Yep.
in a meaningful day. And, my wife says, "Oh, you don't do anything around the house. You don't do this." But if it was for a veteran, you would go do it. And I don't know. It's just, it makes me feel good. It's a brotherhood, like I was saying before, and it's something I can do back.
Absolutely. And your website, that's the www.nehov.org.
Correct.
Sometimes instead of calling your program the New Englanders Helping Our Vets, sometimes people refer to it as NEHOV.
NEHOV. Yeah.
Yep. Just
NEHOV.
so people
Basically,
want, yeah,
yeah.
people will say out the acronym, but it's the New Englanders Helping Our Vets. And the best number to reach you is the 401-649-2548. It's
Correct.
also scrolling here at the bottom. So anybody who's watching, they can see it right there in the bottom. I see somebody's already looking for you. That's awesome.
That's two phones going on.
I understand how that happens. And so if people have good quality furniture, not stuff that is going to actually make you have to go pay the fee to run to the dump, good quality furniture, you can come pick it up. If it's a company that specializes in downsizing, they can reach out to you and maybe you can make some kind of coordination for emptying out a house, and in conjunction with another program.
Yeah, we've done that. Let me see, was it last year we had a big clothing company in Providence, Mark Allen Fine Clothing. He closed his store in Newport, and he donated all his inventory to us.
Nice.
So we were able to help a lot of the young, stuff that actually I don't wear.
Yeah.
Right? But professional clothing is what Mark Allen's has.
Exactly. And we don't think about it, but if you're overcoming some real struggles in life, getting those professional clothes to be able to go out on a job interview can make a big difference.
Oh, if you feel good about yourself, you're gonna do good about yourself.
Exactly.
If you haven't got good clothes, you feel like you're not doing the interview right, or so the clothing really helped us. We got a lot of guys that come back from deployment. They're eligible for schooling. So we got hold of a few of the schools to put our word out there that anybody that had gone to school, right, and as they're getting out, if they needed nice school clothes or whatever, they could have contacted us. Or we had a couple of events. We had one in Woonsocket around Mother's Day at the Veterans Museum, right? And
it's a great museum. Anybody who's watching, you need to go check out the Veterans Museum in Woonsocket. It's right behind the senior center. It's amazing. Amazing. Oh, yeah. And it's all local people too that are in, like, it's their items from local people.
Oh, they've even got people that donate stuff up from Florida. But what you do is, if you had something that might have belonged to your father, your grandfather, and you have it in the attic, it shouldn't be in the attic. You can bring it over here, right? And he will turn around and put it in a framework and hang it, display it, but it's still yours. In other words, everything's like on consignment. So you can turn around, and when you drop your stuff off, you put on he's got a paperwork there. Who would be able to come claim this stuff after, so God forbid I donated it, but I passed it away. My son could still come.
Yep.
So
no rest for the weary.
But no, the museum is great. And then we have the American Legion 85.
Okay.
We just did a World War II presentation 2 weeks ago over there. We did the lighting of the torch, and we had a tent set up with a lot of stuff from the museum there. We had the rubber tanks that they used, that was Patton's Ghost Army. I don't know if a lot of people have heard of Patton's Ghost Army, but they never knew what it was. It was like we used to make in Woonsocket these rubber tanks, but from the air, it looked like a lot of military tanks, but they weren't. They were rubber tanks. And that kind of like was a little strategy they used, back in those wars. I mean, today's technology, they could, they know what it is from a million miles away. But back
Yeah.
then, and they had all kinds of historians talking there, giving all different history. Unbelievable. I lived up around this way for a long time and never knew a lot of the history that was from Woonsocket. I mean, during the
Awesome.
war, American Rubber had like 4 different big manufacturing plants that used to make all the rubber pontoon boats for the, all kinds of stuff. We provided almost
We
60% of
did
the
a
stuff.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a lot here in Rhode Island. It's quite amazing. So tell me about the car raffle. Can people buy tickets
No, it's
or
for free.
is okay?
It's all for
And
free. All you have to
what kind
be,
of
all you
uh,
basically have to be is a vet in need,
so
right?
any veteran in need can
Yeah.
put their name in the hat and they
Yep.
may
They
receive a free car.
that they might be getting them. So they're not new cars. I think we got one is a Buick LeSabre. We have one is a Mazda, and one is a Ford. I believe it's an Escort. I think I'm not sure on the Ford, but I know
Yep.
the Ford. They're just finishing that one up now. They just put a brand new motor in it. Whatever the car's needed, Bill Gately and his partner Dave Lambert, they go right through them. If it needed brake lines, if they needed tires,
Right.
we've got some other good sponsors that help Bill put the things together. Some different auto parts stores, and um, so it's really like a tight thing, like you were saying. Woonsocket has a lot of good people,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's for some, like all places, you got a bad reputation on some things, but with me up around this area, I meet a lot of people from all over. I'll put the people from Woonsocket, personality wise, is a lot of them with people from Newport. You know what I mean? They got good hearts, right?
Absolutely.
The only difference
Absolutely.
is the people I know from Newport, they don't need our assistance like the people from Woonsocket would. But we got a lot of people from Newport that make some nice donations to us.
Yeah.
So, everybody,
Yep.
it's about helping our veterans. And,
Exactly. That's the
you know,
important thing. And there's people in need across the state. There are definitely areas of Newport where there are folks who are able to be very generous, and then there are other parts that are really in need. But
oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Woonsocket's a great place, very generous people in both locations across the state. I think Rhode Islanders, like, we're a really kind of unique bunch here where we try to look out for each other. That's why you created New Englanders Helping Our Vets, right? Because you want to
That's
look
it.
out for each other.
That's it. I mean, Rhode Island. I mean, we do Massachusetts too. We do, Connecticut, but we do New England.
Yeah.
And yeah, New England is, we're tough up here. You know,
Yep.
we survive. We help each other. Most of the time we've got compassion, and most of the time for my vets, people have compassion. If they don't, then
Absolutely.
they don't want to talk to me.
Yeah, then,
uh,
this isn't the conversation for them, and that's okay.
yeah,
Every
yeah.
pot has a lid.
There
So
you go.
when
There
people,
you go.
the best way to help you out would be to, I'm guessing, make a donation at the donate button at the New England Helping Our Vets, the NEHOV.org,
Mm-hmm.
or on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com / New Englanders Helping Our Veterans. That
Mm-hmm.
one's really easy to find. And they can also give you a call at 401-649-2548. And for volunteers, do your volunteers have to be veterans or do you accept civilian volunteers?
No, we would accept civilian volunteers too. It's depending on what we're doing, what we need somebody for.
Right.
Like, but oh no, they could be a civilian.
Yep. Yep.
Especially
So
if
if somebody has a skill of like handling social media, you doesn't matter if they're a civilian or a veteran. You need somebody who knows how to put in a rubber roof, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Anything
swing a
like that.
hammer.
You know, if you can swing a hammer, we'll find the projects for you to swing your hammer on. Right? If,
Perfect.
if you can write a grant, we would love to have a grant writer. Right? If you
You and me both, my friend.
it's crazy.
Yep.
But we're working on it. We were just changing a couple of things. When I started the organization, I started with a real good friend of mine, and in the last year or so, he's moved down to North Carolina. So basically, as being the vice president in North Carolina, he can't really do what we were doing up here.
Yep.
So it makes my thing a little bit harder because I got to try to be more places.
Yep.
So we've got Craig Chapman is going to be our new vice president. We're just waiting to do all the legal paperwork to turn everything over. And Craig is a North Attleboro policeman, which is going to open up the doors to a lot of people that he knows. He's in
Yep.
with a lot of big organizations that he's involved with. They started their organizations because they were deployed with Craig. So that's where he can network us in, and hopefully by next year, we're going to have just more people on our team. We'll be on their team. They'll be on our team. The Larkin brothers, they fix cars up too. We just helped them do a raffle. They were raffled off a brand new Denali that was
Nice.
all souped up. I think they only sold they had 250 tickets at $100 a ticket, so the odds were good. And somebody ended up with a brand new Denali, all souped up and everything, and they did good on that raffle. We work with the Patriot Riders, right? Which is a military background motorcycle group.
Yep.
Then the Knights of Vietnam Knights we work with. We're thinking of doing a motorcycle run next year, and we're going to do it in honor of the gentleman that used to own GI Joe's on Route 1. I don't know if anybody knows about it. It's the place. It's an old gob shop that has a helicopter out in front. And they sell all old military appeal, brand new stuff too. And Wayne used to donate so much nice stuff we used to do the Christmas parties at the VA. He would turn around and donate maybe 200 hats and scarves and gloves and all that. And his daughter is such a sweetheart. Her dad passed, and she just loves to help us. So we're gonna do a motorcycle run next year in dedication of her dad, and all the proceeds from it will go to NEHOV to help our veterans again. So it's kind of like giving a little bit back to Wayne, and at the same time, he loved our organization. So from up above, he'll see it went to him, back to us again.
That's
So
beautiful.
I'd
You
love to
see?
talk to you when we're going to do that. Maybe at the beginning of the year or something, we can come on and talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that once we get that set up.
That sounds great.
Um,
So lots of different opportunities for people to help you. They
mhm.
can go on the NEHOV.org website, the Facebook page, they can give you a call. And if people want to volunteer, it can be swinging a hammer, it could be fixing a car, it could be moving a flag so that a veteran can see it as he's debilitated. So you do some great stuff, Jim. I'm really glad you're able to come on today.
Thank you, Deb, for having us on.
Thank you. Have a
Uh,
wonderful day.
all right, now you too.
Well, everybody, this is really a great organization, New Englanders Helping Our Vets. They do a lot of really creative, unique things that are really focused on what the person needs and not some kind of cookie cutter checkbox. So, love Jim. He's doing some great work. So, if you can volunteer, if you can donate, like check him out. It's a really great program, and I was really glad I got to meet him that weekend at Operation Stand Down Weekend. So again, another great Friday, friends. And I am really looking forward to seeing you all again next week here at 9 o'clock for our next edition of Friday Friends. And in the meantime, I wish you all that happiness and that you are well and kind throughout the week. Thank you.
If you liked this video, please follow us on social media and subscribe on YouTube. For more information, visit rielderinfo.com or call 401-585-0509. If you have any questions, email deb@rielderinfo.com.